Okay, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your patience. And I do understand that if I was part of the audience and it was not working, I wouldn't be too happy. And this is just one of those days when we've done two tests for this thing and everything worked perfectly. And when we have the final thing and it did not work, so please and I apologize for that. And thanks for your patience. Now that hopefully all of you all can hear what I'm talking now, let's just go ahead and get started with this webinar. So I see a lot of you are not seeing a picture or the video there is as per the comments over there. And I do see a lot of you are able to hear the voice as well. Uh, so do all of you see the actual slide over there that's on the screen now that says that handmade and it has a picture and all that stuff there? Okay, so yes, thank you. So a lot of you can see the slide. Thank you again so much, and apologies once again, and let's get started with this. So this session is all about creating handmade slides. So what do we mean by handmade slides? A handmade slide is something that's not really something that you draw on a piece of paper, or even something that you sketch or scribble and paint or something and then scan it or click a picture and make a slide of that. It's just a slide that's created on a computer, created on a program as just like PowerPoint, and it's created in a way that it looks handmade so that the audience knows that you've taken an extra effort, okay, to create something that stands apart. And also the fact that a handmade slide is different from the bunch of regular slides that you see every single day. I'm sure a whole lot of you create presentation slides. Many of you also go and see slides that other people deliver. And the general feeling is that the most of the slides that people have, they are just so geometric and they don't look organic at all. And they don't stand apart. If you've seen one of the slides or you've seen a few of the slides, they all look the same. And it becomes a challenge in today's world to go and, you know, make your presentation stand apart, hold the attention of the audience. And how do you do that? One of the best ways and one of the things that is really in vogue these days is to create slides that are handmade. So you must have heard a lot about how people create handmade slides and stuff like that. But the fact is, to create handmade slides, you have to put an extra effort. And there's no real definition that this is a handmade slide. It's as different as the people who are in this webinar. I see a lot of people who are just from different parts of the world, and since everybody is unique, everybody is different, your slides are different. So what we're going to do in today's webinar, we are actually going to walk through a few slides, look at a few samples, and then I'm going to get into and share my screen with you all. And then we will actually show you how to use PowerPoint to create slides that look handmade. Okay, so let's get started with this stuff. Moving on to the next slide now. And what you see on the screen at this point of time is essentially what you see most of the time with PowerPoint presentations or presentations even with Keynote or a lot of other programs. These are typical slides that are created using a PowerPoint template. And with your PowerPoint template, you go and fill in content over there. And that's how it looks like. So the main purpose of today's webinar, today's session, is to make sure that the slides you create don't look like these. They look different. They stand apart. And also the fact the audience gets to know that you have taken some effort, you've, you've done something to make sure that the audience feels good that the presenter or the presentation slides designer has done something to make the presentation look better. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. What exactly is handmade? So we really don't have too many slides in today's session. What we actually have more is we're going to get into PowerPoint, work with the presentation slides, and show you how you can create slides like that. Okay? So these are the four things that I would really go and put across and tell you that you need to create great handmade slides. First of all, what we would look at, you need to have a background that's not really flat or really geometric or stuff like that. Even the background that you see on the screen at this point of time, it's not perfect. It's got a texture over there, okay? And that imperfection is what makes it perfect. It's like it's just an analogy, and you work with that, and you end up creating something that stands different. So we're actually going to show you how you can create a textured background, okay? And then the second element that you really want to go over there is use handwritten fonts. Now, handwritten fonts, you have a whole lot of fonts which are available these days. You have like probably millions of fonts available, and but we want to look at fonts that have two characteristics. One, they should look handwritten. Okay. Second, they should also be widely available. They should be widely installed on a whole lot of people's computers so that all of them can actually, when you distribute your presentation, can see your slides as you intended them to be. Okay? So I see a question. Is a tutorial there with the PowerPoint program for handmade slides? No, that's Glenn, right? So Glenn, no, there's not really any tutorial within the PowerPoint program or the PowerPoint help menu for creating handmade slides. Uh, but what I would suggest is take a look at this webinar, and then we have open up to questions later during the webinar, and I should be happy to answer your questions. I'll also let you know about a few resources that's going to help you with stuff like that, and that should really get you a good head start and work with that. Okay. So the first element is textured backgrounds, and the second element is handwritten fonts. And the third element is organic shapes. Now, when you draw a shape on your PowerPoint slide, what you mainly do is you go ahead and get these perfect circles and perfect rectangles, perfect triangles, perfect straight lines, and all that stuff. And that's great. And I'm quite happy to see people use stuff like that. But maybe it's time to try something a little different. Maybe your circle could look something like hand drawn. It doesn't have to have a perfect diameter or stuff like that. Maybe it could, have a characteristic of its own. Or your square doesn't have to be a perfect square as long as it look like resembles a square. So that's the type of presentations that we're getting across to nowadays to make your slides look different. And the fourth thing that we are going to look at is embellishments. We call this embellish extras. Now, even on the slide that you see, you can see a sticky tape over there, which is right next to the point that says embellish extras. And also the fact, and you look at this particular slide, which you will see on screen, one of the most important things that you really need to observe there is that the slide here doesn't have bullet points, okay? We've just taken four boxes with text over there. They have textures individually on each of those boxes. They've got handwritten text over there, and the shapes are not perfect square or rectangles. They are organic, and they have embellishments too. So this particular slide is an exact example of what we mean by handmade and what we're going to get across and show to you all. Okay, so let's move on. And let's go and see the difference. What's the difference? What do you mean by handmade? Is that an analogy, a metaphor, or something that I can explain across to you to make it easier for you to understand? Okay. And probably nothing better than to show two types of chocolate to you. So we look at the chocolate on the left side. It looks like the typical bar of chocolate that you buy at the supermarket or in the store. Okay, and that's machine made, and that taste is good, and that's delicious too. And but it's not different. It's like the chocolate that's available anywhere in the world. Okay, and it's not unique. But when you look at the chocolate on the right hand side, that says handmade. That's certainly not come out of a machine. That's someone who has put in some effort to create that chocolate for you. So if you have to choose from eating something on the left or getting something on the right, a whole lot of people uh, would actually go and choose the handmade chocolate on the right. And that's exactly the point we are making across with slides today. So the extra effort that you put across and you create better slides that look handmade, like an effort has gone into that, they're going to stand apart. At the end of the day, the most important thing for any presentation that you create and deliver is a message. What is the message that you want to give across to someone, to your audience? Okay, most importantly, to your audience. And that's the content, that's the soul of your presentation. So you really have to have a good soul to your presentation. There are no two opinions about that. But beyond that, the look that you give to your presentation is also very significant. The look that you give to your slides also helps you amplify your message or diminish your message. So it's my understanding and what I think that if you create your slide that looks different, has a good appearance, you're getting across a message to your audience. Yes, that I care for your audio, okay? As part of the audience, I care for you. So I made this effort, and I think that's going to get a whole lot more attention than something that looks just like any other slide. Okay? So thank you for the comments. I'm reading a few of them, and I'm going to get across and see if I can answer some questions. Uh, so let's move on over here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with all of y'all, and I'm going to launch PowerPoint and show you how I'm going to actually go in and create these handmade slides, and I'm going to demo them to you. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with all of y'all. Okay, so what I would like to say is I would like to request you all, and can you all see my screen here? And if you cannot see the screen, to put on a comment over there. So I'm going to open a file here. This is a PowerPoint presentation. It might take a while for all of you to actually see the same interface that I have here because it's a webinar and it takes a while to get it across. So I'll just wait for it to load, and while it's loading over here, probably it's a good time for me to go. Thank you. I can see a lot of you can see that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to get back to that. So here you go, and this is what a typical PowerPoint presentation that a whole lot of people create look like. Okay, this one doesn't have any template applied to that because I wanted to start on a clean slate and show you what I was doing here. But let me go ahead across to slide sorter view. Okay, that took a while to come across, and this is our sample presentation has 6 slides. Okay, so we're not going to work with too many slides. We're going to work with just with 6 slides and look at different things. We need a topic for our presentation. So the topic for our presentation is water transport in urban Asia. We're going to look at 3 large Asian cities that use a lot of their transport is water based, okay, on the water, and these 3 cities are Bangkok, Kolkata, and Singapore. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put a background to these slides, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the View tab of the ribbon and choose the option that says Slide Master and click on that. At this point of time, we are in Slide Master view. So when you look at the Slide Master view on the left hand side, you see a bunch of slides over there, different layouts in your presentation. But since we want to change the look of the entire presentation, not just one of the layouts, I'm going to scroll up here until I see the big thumbnail on the top here. Okay. Now the big thumbnail on the top is a slide master, and the smaller thumbnails that you see below, these are the different slide layouts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the Insert tab of the ribbon while still in Slide Master view. I'm going to choose a shape option, and I'm going to take this rectangle shape that you see over there because a slide in effect is a rectangle, and I'm going to draw this rectangle so that it covers the entire. So at this point of time, to reiterate what I have done so far, I showed you a bunch of slides, okay, and those are plain vanilla slides. So we went and accessed the slide master, which influences the look of the whole, all the slides in a presentation. Now the slide master per se is not the individual smaller slides you see in the slide master view on the left pane, but the larger slide on the screen there. Okay, I'm just going to get to the VisIQ option. Okay, so this is what this one with the texture, the rectangle that you see on the screen there. To do that, I'm going to go to the shape fill option and choose picture there. It's taking a while. Thank you for your patience there. I get to the insert picture dialog box and I'm navigating to a folder on my computer. So what I have here is I have a bunch of full slide textures that you see on the screen now. These are grayscale textures and you can get these textures from a URL that I will share with all of you all at the end of this webinar. Or if you have your own textures, you can use them as well. So I'm just going to go and choose this particular texture over here and click insert. And with this box. Okay, there you see that. So I'm going to choose the picture tools format option here, move around to the color option, and I'm going to recolor this texture so that it has a wonderful blue color which was similar to the color that was the solid color that you've seen earlier. And maybe this one over here that you see here, it's called blue accent color 1 dark. Finally, because this needs to be behind all the other content in the slide, I'm going to right click this option here and just say send to back. Okay, so now what you see over here is my content is gone behind, but also the fact that you look over here, the text here is black in color. Probably it would work out better if it was whiter in color. So to alter that, let's get back to the slide master tab, and within the background styles, I'm going to choose the blue option here. So that automatically PowerPoint has built-in intelligence. So when you have actually has a darker color text, and when you choose a darker color background style, it automatically puts in a lighter color text for you. Let's go and do that, and then we're going to close our master view. So at this point of time, you can see, and let me get back here, and all the slides have changed their appearance. It's got that wonderful texture there, and which really makes it stand apart. Now, what if you think this is too much texture here? What if you want a lighter texture there? Okay, so if you want to alter that, we have to go back to the slide master. I could go and say view tab, slide master, and again, you know that the slide master is a larger thumbnail on the top over here on the left pane. I'm going to take that. I also have that rectangle selected behind, and I could right click that one, choose format picture. For the benefit of all of you, I'm using PowerPoint 2013 here. Similarly in 2010 and 2007, And also, if you're using a Mac, they work in a similar way in PowerPoint 2008 and 11. So I'm going to go to the fill option here. It's a picture or texture fill, as you can see. And the transparency, as you see here, is set to 0%. I can go there and change my transparency to something like 50%. Okay, and there you see immediately that you see lesser of the texture and more of the color. It's up to you really how much of the texture you want to show across. Okay, so if you want more of the texture to come across, you will set the transparency value to retain at 0%. That's the default. But if you want less of it to come across, then you just modify the transparency and make it come across as you want it. So I think 50% should work well for this slide. I'm just going to go close the master view again and get back to my slide. So let me just walk back to the WizIQ option over there and see if there are any comments there that I need to address. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so I think looks like we are good to go here. Okay, was it, there's a question here, was it a color tab next to the background style? Yeah, let me get back there. That's the same color tab that you will find even in the design tab. It works a little differently than it works in 2013, then in 2010 and 2007. In 2010 and 7 for Windows, you really see right there in background styles. So I have background styles here as well. So that's exactly, and you said it right, it's a color option within the background styles. So now that we have something done here, let's go and look at something else now. The next thing that I want to look across is the fonts. Okay, we've got a nice textured background there, but this looks like a very geometric font. It doesn't look like anything that's handwritten. So I want to get it to look different. But that's a challenge because I can, there's a whole bunch of different fonts that look handwritten, script fonts available everywhere. You have a lot of free fonts available of that sort. But the thing is, when you create presentations, you really don't know which computer you're delivering them on. You may have to go and deliver it on another computer, or you may need to share your presentations with others, and do a whole sort of other stuff like that. So you really want to use a font style or a typeface that's widely available. Fortunately, there's a wonderful font that comes part of Windows, okay? So all Windows users from Windows Vista 7 and 8 have that font because it's part of the operating system. And I'm going to show that to you. But if you're on a Mac, then that font by default is not installed. But if that's an issue, you can actually go and get that font or choose an alternative font that works on the Mac. But this font's really cool. Let me show this to you. So I'm not going to actually go and change the font for every slide in the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the theme font altogether. Now that's a great new feature. So if you have a bunch of 50 slides, 40 slides, and you change your font at one time, and it changes the font all across the presentation at one go, saves a lot of time and looks consistent. Okay, so let's get here again to the design tab. We have this variants option here. I'm going to click on that. Right there, there's an option called fonts. Now, when I click the font options, you have a whole bunch of ready-made themes available here with fonts. And if I scroll down there, and if I choose one of them, you'll notice that automatically the preview of the slide, active slide that you, so if I choose, say, the Franklin Gothic one, and you see that changes to this one. So what I have done, I have already created a handmade fonts option called, I've used Sego Print. That's a font that I have used. That's part of Windows, and it gives a good appearance. But if you have to create your own custom, you know, bunch of handmade fonts like that, what you would do is you will scroll down to the last option over here, and you see this option that says Customize Fonts, and you click on that. And when you see that, you can, first thing you need to do is choose what you want to do. So let's just go and say, this is our WizIQ session fonts. Just a name, you could just give any name you want. So I'm just going to go here, and it's set to Calibri, but I'm going to go and choose something else. I can type the words here, so that at the moment I type S over there, it's going to get me to all fonts that start with S. Okay, so that's Sego print, and that's what I'm going to choose here. And it's the same font that I'm going to choose for the body font. So every presentation that you create has two types of fonts, a heading font and a body font set in the theme. Now, how are they different? The heading font is a font that is used for all your slide titles and nothing else. The body font is a font that is used for everything else. Okay, so the heading font is a font that's used for your slide titles, and the body font is a font that's used for anything else. You could have two separate fonts here, but that's not what we're doing. I like it to be consistent for both the options. I'm going to save this font family here, and it's automatically applied at this point of time. Okay, so this looks real cool. I'm going to move to the second slide in my sample presentation here, and this is your typical bulleted slide, like how you have all the time. And to stand apart, you really want to use as few of the bulleted slides as possible and choose something else instead. So I'm going to go and show you one example of how you can convert a bunch of bulleted slides into something else. But before I do that, let me step up to the WizIQ option over there and see if there are any comments and questions waiting for me. Okay. Okay. So we just extended the session by a while because we started late. Thanks for putting that across, Arpit. Okay. So let's get back to the presentation. So I want to take this particular slide that you see on the screen at this point of time, and I want to get rid of the bullets. So the easiest way to do that is to just click anywhere within the bulleted list. Right click, okay? And then you have this awesome option that says convert to smart art. And that's what I'm going to choose. And then just go and choose one of the variants that you see over there. Okay? So if you not happy with what you see over there and then want to see a whole lot of other variants, that's easy too. Just go to the last option here that says more smart art graphics. Click on that and it's going to open the dialog over there, and we're waiting for that to come up. That's actually going to show you a whole bunch of other smart art graphics. Since it's already there, let's go and explore them. And while we're doing that, I probably would like to go to the list category here, okay? And which one do you want to take? Let's scroll down. Better it's going to be, so I'm just going to, so let's just go and take this variant for now, okay? And that's where you see over there. So you really don't see bullets at this point of time, but you see a list over there. And since this list has got separate individual boxes, you can give them some more handmade treatment to that. So how do we do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these individual boxes. There are 4 boxes there. You can individually go and select them. I'm selecting the first box, then I shift click on the second one, then shift click on the third one, and finally I shift click on the fourth one. At this point of time, I have 4 graphics selected. So I can remember one thing, when you select something like a smart art graphic in the PowerPoint slide, you get those 2 extra tabs on the top, as you can see on my screen now. One is the Smart Art Tools Design tab and one is the Smart Art Tools Format tab. So I'm going to visit the Format tab option here, and we have a Shape Fill option. Now you all remember how we went and put a textured fill to the background. We're going to use the same process and put a texture fill to the shape. So let's go here, go and choose picture. I just going to want to work offline there. And I'm going to choose one of the different textures, maybe this one, and apply it there. So you can see all these boxes now have a texture fill. At the same way that we recolored the background earlier, we can we get the picture tools format option there now, which was not there earlier because it was a solid fill. But now, since there's a picture that's filling up the background of these individual boxes, you get this new tab on the ribbons, which on the top, and it reads as picture tools format, which you see on the screen now. You're going to click on that, get to the color option, and you can choose a different color, and you get a preview of that color over there. So maybe I think green's going to work real well there, or I could even take the violet one. Let's just settle on the green one for now, and that's what we have. So we've actually got a nice textured fill, but the geometric boundaries of this whole smart art, they scream geometry, okay? They don't look organic, they don't look handmade. So what do we do about that? That's what we do next. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going back to the Format tab for Smart Art Tools. I go to Shape Effects, and this opens the Shape Effects gallery, and this awesome option called Soft Edges, which is probably perfectly made for anything that you want to look handmade. And just choose like 2.5 or even 5 points. Yeah. So that gives it a real moth-eaten look over there. Okay, so let me just go and deselect that so that you can look at it better. And that's how it looks like. Now the white boxes behind there, they probably have no part over there. Maybe we can just get rid of them. So how do we do that? That's simple. I'm going to select those boxes and hit the delete key on my keyboard. It doesn't go there. So the easier way to get rid of them is select the first one, shift click again, and shift click again. Get to the Smart Art Designs Format tab, go to the Shape Fill, and say No Fill. So they disappear. But their outline is still there. So what we're going to do is get rid of the outline as well and say Shape Outline, No Outline. Click anywhere outside, and that's what you see. So essentially, we don't have a bulleted list. We have a list that's got a handwritten text in that. That's got a nice handmade texture behind, which has got a moth-eaten look to it, and it stands apart. So what we've done at this point of time, we played with two of the elements for handmade slides that we discussed earlier in our presentation. The first element that we have worked across is been how to add the textured background. Not only did we add the textured background to the slide background as a whole, but we also added those textured backgrounds to the individual boxes that you see on the slide on the screen at this point of time. Secondly, we went and chose a font family and put that across over there. Okay, so we've done two of these changes. Now there are two more changes to be done, and we'll go and visit them. Okay, the third one, if you remember, was organic shapes. So let's go and try. I'm going to go and draw an organic shape for you. So I'm just going to go here and add a new slide. I'm using the Control M keyboard shortcut. I'm going to go ahead and change the layout to title only so that I have a nice open expanse there to work with. And then I'm just going to take this rectangle tool and draw it and draw a rectangle there. So this is a typical geometric rectangle that you see all the time. So how do we make it look more organic? So you can actually go and right click it and choose this option that says edit points. The moment you choose edit points, PowerPoint gets into a mode of like a drawing program, and you see these vertex and points that you see on the screen. A rectangle typically has 4 points or vertex that you see over here, and every individual vertex can be selected. So I have selected this vertex on the top right, and it gets those two handles. If you could see them, they are purple in color. I can drag the end of those vertexes and make it bloat it up or punk it up or do whatever you want to do. The only thing is go and do that with all the four of them. Okay, and see what I'm doing here. And it's very simple. You just have to select these handles and drag them across. And that's what I'm going to do with all four of them. Okay. It just takes a moment more than just drawing a regular rectangle. And this is what you end up with. So this looks like something you've drawn with your hand rather than something that you have drawn on a computer. So to reiterate what I told you right in the beginning of the webinar, I don't want you to draw everything with hand on a piece of paper, scan it or photograph it, make slides out of that and work hard. I just want you to do everything in the computer. but I want to use you to use the computer's power and the technology to make your end result look handmade. Okay? So this is what we've done. We've made shapes like this. So you can draw a whole lot of other shapes like that. I could even just probably take a let's just take like even this heart shape over here and draw this heart shape. This is a perfect heart shape as you see. Right click it again, choose edit points, and you see these handles. Click on any of those handles, and drag it across. You don't want your heart to look just perfect. You want it to look a little handmade. No problem. Make it look handmade. The left and the right hand side of the heart don't have to be identical. It's something like how you drew on paper and pencil or paper and pen, and you end up creating something of your own. But the best part is these are still PowerPoint shapes. So anything you can do with a PowerPoint shape, fill it with a picture, change the background color, change the color, put a gradient fill, add a text, whatever you want to do, you can still do that. It just takes a moment more to take a regular shape in PowerPoint and make it look more organic and handmade. And it's easy to do so, as shown to you all. So let me walk back to the WizIQ option over there and see if there are any questions for you. Thank you so much. I have someone who says this tip was worth the webinar. Thank you so much. And if there's any other questions, let me just scroll up and see. Okay, didn't know how to ever use edit points now. I see. There's a whole lot, Diane, that's from you. There's a whole lot you can do more with edit points. But we just covered the basic here. Go and play around with that and try on playing over there, and go and experiment with that. And the whole point is to go and tell your audience that yes, I'm doing something different for you. Okay, Marianne Cassett, she has a question there. Will these tips work on a Mac? Exactly, these tips will definitely work on a Mac. I work both on Windows and Mac. I have written 6 books on PowerPoint, 4 are for Windows, and I've written 2 books on Mac, and yes, they will work. If any of you have more questions over there, what you would do is I run this website called indesign.com. That's INDEZINE.com. Okay, get across to the site. We have a bunch of tutorials that show all this stuff. Okay, and you can learn about that. There's a feedback form over there. You can send your just go to the yeah. Thanks Akash for putting up that URL over there, and go there. And there's a feedback form that and at the end of this presentation, I'll just give you more contact info as well. So um, if you need to reach out to me for something, I also run a LinkedIn group where you can post your questions and we answer to all of them. Okay, so let's thank you for all your great comments. Let's move on to the next part of our handmade slide session. Okay, sure. Thank you so much over there, and I see a lot of comments coming. And yes, Himanshu, you're right. The next thing we are going to cover about is embellishments. And no worries, I'm going to. I do have. Ravi wants us to copy of the presentation. No problem. A recording of this webinar will be available as Akash mentions over there. In addition, I do have a PDF document which covers this whole session step by step, along with the URLs you need to go to get those textures and all the stuff that I talk about. So, um, we'll definitely going to share that with you. So let me just get over the session and I'm going to share that info with you all. Okay. So I'm moving on back to my PowerPoint screen there. And now we're going to talk about embellishments. Okay, so what do you mean by embellishments? Embellishments are one of those extra things that you do to make your slides look handmade. We've done a whole lot of stuff, to make them look handmade. We've used this handmade, these textures. We've played around with the shapes and make them look organic. We've gone and choose like a handmade font over there. But you know that this is the cake. You want to put the icing of the cake to make it look more appealing, and that's where you get to embellishments. So let me get to this particular slide here. And every embellishment that I'm going to use, these embellishments are from one of my other sites, which is called scrapbookpresentations.com, scrapbookpresentations.com. I'm going to probably going to type it for you somewhere here. Let me just go and type it here for you. Okay, that's a site. My other main site where you'll find all the tutorials. This is the one. Okay, so and you'll have a webinar recording, so you can actually go and look at all the stuff later as well. So let me get to the slide where I talk about embellishments. And it's basically, I could just go and say the insert picture dialog box, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and show you some of these embellishments. So this is like sticky tape, okay? And I'm going to open this folder, and we have these sticky tape options. You can see this PNG files, okay? So essentially, these are the files that I'm just going to take one of these, drag it into my PowerPoint file, and put it here. So this is a tape. So you can see this tape there. Now we have a bunch of these tapes available on InDesign, and we actually sell them for a very low cost. And you just buy them and picture in PowerPoint. And I have one of them there. I'm going to duplicate this and drag this across here. And then I'm going to rotate it again. Take two again of these and drag them down there. And I'm going to rotate those two. Okay. So let me go and place them a little more perfectly. You don't have to be too perfect because it's handmade. It doesn't have to be exactly at the same coordinates on all the four sides as well. So you just go and put up four pieces of tape. So they're just pictures that we put it over the PowerPoint. These are pings, PNG files, and they have transparency built in, and PowerPoint respects that and gets that wonderful effect that you see over there. Let me get to another example there. And this one is frame corners. So I'm just going to take this frame corners there, and there's a bunch of frame corners that you see on the slide there. Not on the slide, on my, I'm just going to make it smaller, and just take one of these frame corners because I don't want to choose four different colors on four sides. Maybe this one's going to be good. So I'm going to drag it onto my slide here. Where did it go? Right in the center. I'm going to put it there. Maybe I can just increase that in size a wee bit. Push it over there. So there you go. Drag it across. I'm pressing the Control and Shift keys as I drag so that I can duplicate them in a straight line. And I'm rotating this. I'm going to select these two, get them here, and rotate them again. Okay, so there's no end to what you can do. You have a whole lot of embellishments available. You can create your own embellishments, and you can play with them and put it over there on slides. These few things are going to stand apart. They're going to make your audience know that you care enough for them to create something special for them. So let me just walk around and see if I have something else to show you here. So we have these scribbles here, okay? And that's something that I want to play around with the text and show you what these are. So let me, for example, I have this particular content here, okay? So can you all see that I'm on the first slide of the presentation that says water transport in urban Asia? Let me walk over to VisIQ over there and make sure that all of you can see it. Okay. Okay, thanks. So you can all see that. I'm just going to go ahead and do this again. Okay. So what I'm going to do is at this particular element, I'm just going to make the text bold, increase the text size. That should be good. Maybe I can just take a little up. Typically, I don't do that because I like to respect the template, but I'll just do it now because I want to be real big so that you all can see it. I think that's what I want to do is if you go and look at a lot of presentations today, or even if you look at advertisements, or you open a magazine, or you look at some websites, and you see that there's this, you know, the sketched look, which is so much in vogue with text these days. So how do you make your text look sketched up? So what you can do is a lot of people don't know that you can fill up your text in PowerPoint with a picture, with a texture, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this entire text and get to the Drawing Tools Format tab, go to Text Fill, and get to I'm just going to take the texture option and choose, I could choose any of the textures that's available here, but that's not what I want to do. I want to show you how to use a custom texture. First, let's go and choose any of the textures that's available here. So you can see that this presentation is got, okay, a texture there. And but I want to use a custom texture as I told you. To do that, we're going to select this again, go to texture, texture, more textures, okay, and I'm going to choose a picture from file here, and I have those textures here, which I just shared with you. And I'm going to take this white textures over there, select those, and if I deselect, you can see this has got that wonderful look of it's look like a scribble look. I can actually make it look a little even more. I can customize it more. So I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to choose this option over here that says tile picture as texture. So it's more apparent here. And you can also scale it, how you can want to scale the actual texture file that you have used. Any picture that you have can be used as a texture, okay? So I'm just going to go and make this 50%, and I'm going to make that 50% too, scale Exify. And you can see how it looks like. Let me go and play it full screen for so that you can all see it clearly. So you can see this gets a wonderful textured look. The only thing probably missing over here is this text doesn't have an outline. And how do we alter that? Let me show that to you. I'm going to select this entire text, get your drawing tools format, text outline, and choose white as a color. So now that you'll notice, it even has a thin outline over there. Maybe if I go and play it in slideshow mode, you will see that more obviously. There you go. And if you wanted this to happen in all your slides in the presentation, you can actually go and alter this in the slide master, the exact place where we went and put that textured background earlier for all the slides in the blue color. And you would just do that. So let me walk again to WizIQ. Okay. So thanks. So Mark says my photography students can use that. Diane says didn't know about the text fill either. Thanks. So glad to show it to you. If anybody has any questions, feel free to go and type it on over there, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. At this point of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get back to the presentation that we started with. And let me go to the last slide. Okay, so that's how you can get in touch with me. You can make a note of these URLs. That's my website, indesign.com, my mail ID. That's my Twitter handle, Geetesh. Tinyurl.com, link design is where you would go to get to our LinkedIn page, and that's our Facebook page for InDesign.com. Okay, so that's going to help you all, and I really wish you all get to create amazing handmade slides. But do remember one thing: you just don't have to do exactly what I've done over here. You have to do it a little different. Try to put in something of your own over there, something that is an extension of what you believe in, what you think about. Okay, so just go and play with that. Yeah, Himanshu, you said about sharing the PDF. So I'm just wondering how do I share the PDF with you, and that's a great question. So I can share this with Akash and the people at uh, okay. Akash, I don't have a link on the whiteboard as now because I haven't got it uploaded anywhere. So what I can do is I can probably give you a link, and I'm going to share it with you all. The other thing what I can do is I can post a link on my Twitter account. Okay, so if you all go to follow me on Geetesh, and I'll make sure that I'm going to upload the PDF, and I'm going to put a link to that PDF as a post on my Twitter account. And so if any of you go to twitter.com to the Geetesh account, and you will actually go there and find that. I'm based in India. I actually, since we had these technical issues at the starting of the webinar, and apologies again for that, I really didn't have time to introduce myself at that point of time. So let me tell you a little bit about myself at this point of time. My name is Geetesh Bajaj, and I think you all already know that. I'm an MVP, that stands for Most Valuable Professional, and that's an award from Microsoft. And I have been a recipient of that award for the last 13 years, every year, renewed every year. And I run this website called InDesign.com. I train a whole lot of people how to create better PowerPoint presentations. Most importantly, how to create those better PowerPoint presentations fast, okay? So that you create something that your audience remembers you with and remembers the content of your presentation. And I also write books, and you have these URLs which you have on the screen now. You visit any of these URLs, you get to know more about me. And I'm definitely going to post up the entire PDF with a step-by-step sequence of whatever we have done today, and probably a little more as well. Uh, Tomorrow, it's late in the night India time now, so maybe by the next 12 hours, if you just go and check my Twitter handle, you're going to have that link over there for the PDF. It's been amazing having you all there. I am really enjoyed showing and sharing these tips with all of you. And feel free to get in touch, and really wish you all awesome handmade slides. Okay? So I think we can stop here, and have a great day, all of you. Okay, bye then.